Hey there, everybody. How's it going? We have another baseball game for you here today, just as we do every day. It's the 1908 Giants at the 1908 Phillies, and Mike Donlan's going to start this one off for the Giants. First roll for him is a 35. 35 is an 8 against the B. Lew Richie is a ground ball over to shortstop, and it's Doolin who's got that, flips over to first base for the first out, and here comes Larry Doyle. Doyle rolls a 55 again for another 8, and there's another ground ball over to Doolin at short, makes the play at first, 2 away now. Cy Seymour now comes up, rolls a 36 for a 14. He gets his walk off of Lew Richie, and here comes Art Devlin. And this New York Giants team may not be the most famous team you've ever seen, but boy, I know these player names pretty well, having read a lot about the season. Devlin rolls a 24 for a 13. He strikes out, and that will do it. We go to the bottom of the first inning, and here come the Phillies against Doc Crandall. First batter up is Eddie Grant, rolls a 22 for an 8, and that is a little ground ball again over to Bridwell, this time at short. Makes the play over, throws to Tenney at first for the first out. Here comes Otto Knabe. He rolls a 33 again for an 8. Ground ball again to his shortstop. Bridwell makes that play too. John Titus comes up. 2 away now for the Phillies, bottom of the first inning. Titus rolls a 43 for a 29. There's a little ground ball back over to Crandall. He makes the play at first as well. Easy as that. We go to the top of the second inning. And it's Fred Tenney coming up. He rolls a 61 for a 37, and that's just going to be a strike because Richie doesn't have that W. Still Tenney up there, rolls a 42 now for a 41. That one is changed over to a 40 for another foul ball. 2 strikes now on Fred. And he rolls a 23 for 29, and that's a little ground ball over to Richie, who makes the play at first base, 1 away. Here's Al Bridwell. Rolls a 34 for a 44. That's a little fly ball to center field, and Osborne's got that one easy out. 2 away. Here's Spike Shannon. He rolls a 34 for a 44, and that one also is a fly ball out there to Osborne in center field. We go to the bottom of the second inning just like that, and it's Sherry McGee. And I'm dropping dice left and right. McGee rolls a 24 for a 40. That's going to actually change to a 41. All that does is mean that's a ground ball over to shortstop. That's over to Bridwell, who makes the play at first base again. Lots of ground balls in this one so far. Bransfield rolls a 12 for a 25. That 25 means it's a ground ball to Doyle at second base, and he makes the out, 2 away. Up next is Fred Osborne. He rolls a 56 for a 32. That is a fly ball over to Donlan in the right field. He makes the play easy, and that does that. Nothing going so far in this ball game. Here's Roger Bresnahan. You look at the 1908 Giants, and you wonder why they even have a backup catcher, because Bresnahan almost played every single game that year. Not too far away from starting all 154 games, which would have been awful if you're playing Diamond Mine baseball and you're trying to think of ways to not just play the same catcher over and over again. And he rolls a 63 for a 31. It's a fly ball over to Osborne in center field, 1 away. And here is Doc Crandall with 1 out here, top of the third inning. Nothing doing. Crandall rolls a 23 for a 13, which means Lew Richie got him for a strike 3. And here is Mike Donlan. Rolls a 35 for an 8, and there's a little ground ball over to shortstop. This time it's Doolin making the play once again. And we go to the bottom of the third inning. Here's Mickey. He rolls an 11, and this is going to be the first base hit of the ball game, and that's a 0. And we go double columns for the 14. Doolin gets the base hit, a little single over to left field, and then steals the base as Red Doolin comes up. And you remember this one from last time, Doolin and Doin. Well, I don't know how they actually said it back in 1908. If you do, please let me know down below. As always, here comes Doin, and the question is, do we swing away or do we bunt with the pitcher coming up? We might as well bunt because it doesn't have any base hits on his card. And the roll is a 54 for a 45. What did I tell you? And that ends up being a little bunt over to first base. Tenney's got it. Makes the play over to Doyle, who's covering, and there's 1 away now. And here's Lew Richie, and the infield's going to be in, and Doolin is slow. And so we're actually not bunting with Richie because of how slow Mickey Doolin is, because there's so many things that can go wrong if you're slow and we bunt. And the roll is a 12 for a 25. That ends up being a line drive over to Devlin. Art's got that one at third base, and he doubles off the runner. And just like that, the Phillies' chance goes wasted. And we go to the top of the fourth inning for the Giants. No score. Giants looking for the first hit. Here's Larry Doyle. And let's make sure you can sort of see those dice. That's a 43 is what that roll is, and that's why I'm telling you what it is. Ends up being a 43 again for 29. Ground ball over to Richie. Throws over to first base for the out. Flows it to first base for the out. 1 away. Up next is Cy Seymour. He rolls a 52 for a 27. That is a ground ball over to Grant at third, and he makes the play at first. 2 away, and here's Art Devlin. He rolls a 63 for a 31. Another fly ball over to Osborne in center field, and that does that. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Here's Eddie Grant. The roll is a 24 for a 13, strike 3, and Crandall gets his man. And that's the first strikeout of the game for Crandall. And here's Otto Knabe. Rolls a 23 for a 32. That's a fly ball over to right field. Titus has it. 2 away. I'm sorry, not Titus. Wrong team. It's Donlin who has it. 2 away. Now Titus is up next. How about that? And he rolls a 61 for a 42, which is a hit by pitcher. And I tell you, all the offense has been with Philadelphia today. And if you know what happened in this game in real life, you'd be surprised at this one, right? In real life, the Giants just blew them out of the water. My apologies. I'm trying to straighten up the dice board. And by the way, just so you know, not really a paid sponsorship here, but these dice and dice boards come from Die Hard Dice, which I strongly recommend. Great products, great service. They're nice people. Sherry McGee up rolls a 66 for a 0, and he's going double column fishing. And the second roll is a 32 for a 6, and that will score the runner. And so the big double by Sherry McGee ends up scoring 1, and that drives them home. And we have a 1-0 game just like that. And boy, I tell you, this is a real close one, and that might be enough. We will see what happens. We'll see if the Giants can get any sort of hits or anything going on. But so far in this game, early on, I know McGee has the hit, and he is responsible for the only run of the ball game. 1-0 Philadelphia. 2 outs now, bottom of the 4th inning. Runner on second base, 2 outs, just like I said. And the next batter up, as I've rolled already, is Kitty Bransfield, who rolls a 31 for an 8. He gets the base hit, and that scores McGee, and he is now the runner on first base. And now we have Fred Osborne up there. Now 2-0 Phillies. And the roll is a 41 for a 28. It's a little ground ball over to shortstop, and Bridwell's got it. Makes the throw over to first base. That does that. Fred Tenney now top of the 5th inning. He rolls a 46 for a 13. There's a strikeout again for Lew Richie, and 1 away. Here's Al Bridwell. And I'm going to have to re-roll that one. That one was in between 2 different things. Rolls a 24 for a 13, 2 outs. I think there was going to be a 62 anyway. Nothing would have happened. Spike Shannon now. He rolls a 63 for a 32. And there's a little fly ball over to Titus in right field. He's got it. And we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Mickey Doolin to lead it off. Rolls a 12 for a 24. And that's going to bring up the little error maybe, and it's a 12, and there is an error, and that's going to be an error on the shortstop. That is Bridwell kicking it. Doolin now the runner on first base. He's been one of the few men for both teams to even be on base today. And here's Doolin now, and he's going to bunt. He rolls a 33 for a 7. You know that was going to happen. That's a little bunt over to Tenney at first base. Makes the play over to Doyle, who's covering at first, and Doolin moves up to second, 1 away. I said you know that was going to happen because, apologies, 1 second. Sorry about that. I get a little too excited here. I say you know that was going to happen because it happens all the time. You bunt and you think we got to play for the 1 run. And what happens is you roll the base hit and it ends up being just a bunt and a little poke out, and that's it. We're not going to let that one deter us, though. We have Lew Richie up here, and we're going to bunt again, and he rolls a 31 for a 23. That is a balk. Balk on Doc Crandall. Odd play that he's called for a balk with a runner on second base. How often do you see that happen? And so Doolin now is the runner on third base, and boy, that was a sort of an unusual play, I figure. So those 23s, of course, are kind of famous because that's where you get the games called because of rain. But I tell you, balk in this situation is really, really quite interesting because, I mean, I'm trying to sort of picture how this would have happened in real life, right? I mean, you have a runner on second base, and I mean, is Crandall trying to make a move on him? Down 2-0 here, bottom of the 5th inning, only 1 out. And now what do? Well, you bring the infield in, but again, we have Doolin once again on third base, and I don't want to chance him being thrown out. Let's see if we get another one of those line drives to the third baseman. The roll is a 42 for a 13. That's just a strikeout, nothing doing there. 2 outs now for Eddie Grant. You actually, though, hope that Richie strikes out instead of lining into a double play again. Runner on third base for Grant, and he rolls a 55 for an 8, and that is a base hit. That scores the run, 3-0 Phillies, but unfortunately that little C ends up haunting Grant as he's thrown out stealing on the next play. It is 3-0 Phillies now, and we go to the top of the 6th inning, and here's Roger Bresnahan, the catcher, rolls a 42 for a 14. He walks, and I think that might be the first base runner of the game for the Giants. Let me know if I'm wrong. Haven't been paying attention that closely, but I think that might be the first. Here's Doc Crandall now in an obvious bunting situation. and he rolls a 43 for a 29, and that is a bunt over to the first baseman, and it is Bransfield who has it, and he makes the play to second base, throws over to Doolin, the shortstop, who's covering the bag for the out, and the runner on first base now is Crandall. Not exactly what the Giants wanted here, and here's Mike Donlin coming up, and McGraw is going to hit and run with the pitcher. And Donlin rolls a 31 for an 8, and that ends up being a little ground ball to the second baseman Knabe, who throws over to first base for the out. 2 away now, top of the 6th inning, 3-0 Phillies, and here's Larry Doyle. He rolls a 31 for an 8, and that's a little ground ball over back to the pitcher. Richie makes the play, throws over to first base for the out. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and it's Otto Knabe up now for the Phillies. He rolls a 55 for an 8, gets the base hit, but the little C strikes again, and he's thrown out trying to steal second base. John Titus now rolls a 26 for a 27, little ground ball over to Devlin to third, throws to first for the out, 2 away. Here's Sherry McGee. He rolls a 44 for an 8, and once again it's a base hit, and McGee is caught stealing, trying to steal. And that does it for the bottom of the 6th inning. We go to the top of the 7th, and it's Cy Seymour up there now. And I'm so excited. I'm knocking things all over the place. The rule is a 13 for a 40. That's changed to a 36, which is just a ball, nothing happening. And that one's a 34 for a 44, and that ends up being a little fly ball in theory over to Osborne in center, but we have to do the little E rule. And it's a 13, which is within the range. It ends up being grounded out over to Grant at third base, and he boots it for an error. First error of the game for the Phillies. Cy Seymour is on at first. Art Devlin's going to hit and run, and here comes the McGraw offense, and he rolls a 12 for a 24. That means a little ground ball over to Knabe, who makes the play at first base. Seymour moves up to second, 1 out. Here's Fred Tenney now. Tenney's going to swing away instead of bunting. He rolls a 24 for 13, strike 3. Richie's got a beat on that one, and 2 away. Now 5 strikeouts in this game for Lew Richie, and here's Al Bridwell. He rolls a 26 for 30, and there's a little fly ball over to left field, and it's McGee who's got it. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning now, 3-0 Phillies. Kitty Bransfield now rolls a 45 for a 14. Now, we haven't seen a lot of these yet. I want to pause here for a second. He's got a 14 with a little S, which means he steals second base in the next play. Not a whole ton of these in this set, but you do see that as you play with NP3. I love this stuff. I'm going to do a different video later on the glories and the wonders of the Skeetersoft stolen base system, because it really is good. Bransfield walks. He steals second on the next play. Pretty good for the first baseman, I would say. And he ends up being the runner on second base with Fred Osborne coming up now. Nobody out here. Bottom of the 7th inning. Osborne swinging away, rolls a 54 for a 45 as a little fly ball over to right field. It's Donlin who has it for the out, and that is 1 away here, bottom of the 7th inning. Here comes Mickey Doolin. He rolls a 25 for an 8. That's a base hit, and that's going to score his man. And so Bransfield gets the walk and the stolen base and then scores on the Doolin single. 4-0 Phillies. Here's Red Doohan. He rolls a 23 for 32. A little fly ball over to right field. Donlin's got it. 2 away. And it's Lew Richie now with the runner on first base. And he rolls a 51 for a 9. That's a little ground ball over to third base. It's Devlin who's got it for the out. Goes to first. Here we go, top of the 8th inning, and here's Spike Shannon. He rolls a 15 for an 11, and there it goes. It's a little single to left field in front of McGee for the hit. The first hit given up by Lew Richie in this ball game, and Shannon steals second base as Bresnahan comes up there. So that shows you just how rare the coveted no-hitter is. Roger Bresnahan now. And that spoils that no-hitter. Even in 1908, it doesn't happen all the time. Bresnahan now rolls a 66. And it's a good thing the Phillies got those insurance runs, huh? Because here's the second roll, 54 for a 6. That scores 1. Bresnahan on at second base now. That brings up Doc Crandall. And just like that, McGraw and his Giants are coming crawling back, and they're going to bunt here with Crandall. Rolls a 21 for a 13. That's a foul strike. We will bunt again. Boy, that's an 11 for a 0, and maybe that decision to bunt down by 3 wasn't a good one. It ends up being a 42 for a 6. But guess what? Since you're bunting, that ends up being a bunt over to Grant at third base. Goes to the second baseman Knabe covering at first for the out. That is 1 away. Bresnahan moves over to third base. 1 away now. 4-1 Giants, and the Giants are still trying to rally. Donlin up there now rolls a 54 for a 45, and here comes that little E, and it's a 13, and that's going to be an error. 21 is an error on the first baseman, and it is Bransfield making the miscue. Second error of the game for the Phillies, and that's starting to haunt them. 4-2 now, Phillies, and this is starting to be exciting. And Larry Doyle, next man up, rolls a 46 for a 29. That's tapped over to Richie, and he goes over to second for one. Can't finish up that double play, though. Doolin not quite able to do so, and Doyle is fast, of course. And here comes Cy Seymour now with 2 outs for the Giants here, top of the 8th inning. He rolls a 14 for a 43. We have another little E to worry about, and the roll ends up being a 33, and that ends up being a fly ball over to Osborne in center field. Makes it for the out. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and I'm telling you, man, this game, this is a close one. I keep knocking this tray around, and it's all right. We'll sort of try to get this centered on here for you. Try to be as friendly to the audience as I can. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And here comes Eddie Grant now, bottom of the 8th inning, and he rolls a 25 for a 10. That's a base hit for Eddie. And just like that, it's hit number 8 of the game for the Phillies. And here's Otto Knabe coming up, and we're going to do a little bit of hit and run with Eddie Grant on. Hope we can make something happen. He rolls a 34 for a 44, which is one of those great hit and run hits for those of you who play NP3 or APBA or any game like this, because just like that, you have runners on first and third. Now, nobody out. Here's John Titus now. We're not going to hit and run this time because Knabe doesn't have that. He doesn't have that great F, though. I don't know. He does have an 11 on his card. It might behoove us to hit and run. In fact, maybe we will do it. You can tell I've been spending some time doing my research. Giants bring the infield in. I say I've done my research because there's a lot of articles about how big the hit and run was in 1908. I'm not talking about today's articles. I'm not talking about the Hardball Times or Fangraphs or whatever. I'm talking about those 1908 newspapers. They talk about it all the time. Titus rolls a 32 for a 26. And with the infield in, that ends up being a single through second base. One runner scores, and Knabe goes over to third base. And that's because that infield was in, and the Phillies are thankful that the Giants had the infield in, and they're thankful, too, to have that hit and run. Otherwise, that's a double play. Sherry McGee comes up now. Nobody out. Runners on first and third. 5-2 Phillies now, and they're knocking Doc Crandall out of the box. Roll is a 26 for a 13. Crandall gets the strikeout. That's his third of the game. And there's one away now for Kitty Bransfield. 10 hits for the Phillies so far, and they're saying, what do you mean dead ball error? And there's that 32 for a 26. Infield was deep that time. That is a ground ball over to Doyle. Flips it to Bridwell, and he turns, makes the nice pivot, throws over to Tenney for the out. Double play. We go to the top of the 9th inning now. 5-2 Phillies. First man up is Art Devlin. Rolls a 55 for a 9. Gets the base hit, but is called out stealing. And that's where the little C, it giveth and it taketh away. And here's Fred Tenney. One out now. 56 is the roll for a 34. And we do have a little E roll, and the roll is a 64, and that ends up just being a little harmless pop fly out there to Doolin at short, 2 away. And here's Al Bridwell. And the roll is an 11 for a 7. There's a single to right field for Bridwell. He keeps the game alive, and here's Spike Shannon. And, well, you can't bunt. You can hit and run. I guess we'll do that. It rolls a 42 for a 40, and that ends up being a ball. And Bridwell misses the sign a little bit there. He's out stealing. That's the end of the ball game. Phillies win this one 5-2, and it was an exciting game for a little while there. We thought we were going to have one of those special no-hitters. Didn't quite happen in this one, but this was a fun game nonetheless. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you tomorrow. This is going to keep going on. We have tons of fun here. Talk to you later. Bye.